everyone, and welcome to episode 36 of the Knitty Heather podcast. My name is Heather, and I'm coming to you from Kent, Washington, where I live with my husband Tom and our Cavalier King Charles Spaniel Pepper. This is my podcast where I like to talk about everything I am working on, mostly knitting, but a little bit of crochet as well. And I also love to talk about and feature really amazing makers, whether they are designers, yarn dyers, or any kind of maker of accessories, anybody who adds to the beauty of our fiber community. I always love to give them special shout outs. If you are a new viewer, thank you so much for stopping by. I really appreciate it, and I hope you enjoy yourself. And if you are a returning viewer, thank you so much for coming back. That really means a lot to me. If you would like to follow me, I am at Knitty Heather on Instagram, and I always love seeing what everyone is working on there. All of the yarn and patterns and accessories I talk about will be listed and linked in the description box below. Today is Friday, August 27th, 2021, and I have a lot to tell you about today, so let's get started. Today I am wearing my triangle cowl. This is another cowl I knit up using a stitch from New Stitch a Day called the Stockinette Triangle Stitch. And as you can see, there is a reverse stockinette triangle paired together with a regular stockinette triangle to kind of have some really fun texture. I used 3 different shades of yellow fingering weight yarn held together to create this look. It's pretty thick and really nice and warm. And like I said, the texture is really fun with this triangle pattern. This was also a cowl that I knit up as long as my yarn would let me. I did put a little Mobius twist in it before I seamed it together with a whip stitch. This is a really fun, easily memorizable pattern that is reversible on both sides. Perfect for a cowl like this or a scarf. Check out the stockinette triangle pattern on the New Stitch a Day website. Today I am also wearing a pair of socks from the Cozy Knitter. I knit these out of her Yarn of the Month Club colorway from August 2020. It is called Happy Day, and it was a nice summery combination of colors in the stripes. These are plain vanilla socks that were knit toe up with the Fish Lips Kiss Heel and about 12 rounds of a 2x2 rib for the cuff. So I have to tell you guys about my lucky day last weekend. As I mentioned in my last episode, we just finished the Puget Sound LYS tour, and I was able to visit a couple of my favorite local yarn stores. One of the really fun things about an LYS tour is that when you go, you get to enter a drawing for a prize. I entered when I went to Maker's Mercantile as my very first stop, and lo and behold, I actually won. I thought maybe I would win a skein of yarn or maybe an accessory, some little maybe pair of scissors. I had no idea what to expect, but check this out. It was a whole bag full of goodies. So let me tell you what I got. First, this bag is super cute. It's got that LYS tour. It was the 15th year logo on it, and then kind of a map of Puget Sound and all the different yarn stores in the area. But it was absolutely chock full of really fun goodies. So let me show you what I got. There was a copy of the Summer 2019 Pom Pom magazine, which already has a very pretty sweater on the cover and a really pretty shawl on the back. I can't wait to start thumbing through this. I've never actually taken a look at Pom Pom magazine before, and I'm really looking forward to checking this out. There was a ton of yarn in this bag, but besides the yarn, I also got a pretty button from Perfectly Naughty and a copy of the Wiggle Wrap pattern. That looks really fun and pretty. Now on to the yarn. I got a skein of Swains Island Ombre and Friends, color number 101. This will have an ombre effect, I assume, from white to a kind of the darker blue. 100% American Merino wool. Timidity by Haiku. In color number 4, it is 40% wool, 43% acrylic, and 17% nylon. This would be really pretty added to something else, almost in place of like a mohair or a Surrey alpaca. This is a sock yarn from Willow on the Water. It is an 85-15 base, 2-ply sock. It doesn't say the colorway, but look at these pretty greens and blues. I think these might make really beautiful socks. This is another Willow on the Water 8515 sock yarn. Some really pretty fall colors, I think, with this one. This will make a really pretty pair of socks as well. This is Kramer Yarns Perfection Chunky in the colorway Raggedy Andy. It is 30% domestic merino and 70% acrylic. This might make a really nice hat or something. What would you do with this? I've heard of Kramer Yarns, but I've never used any of their yarn before. This is Elemental Artifacts Shetland Fingering. It is 100% North American Shetland wool, and it is in the colorway Very Dark Teal. And yes, it is a very dark teal. How pretty. Another new to me yarn brand that I am not familiar with, but looking forward to trying. Finally, there was a kit for this Power and Parallels shawl with 2 skeins of Barocco Ultra Wool Fine in kind of this orangey rusty color and a turquoise. And then there's an extra skein of the orange color, which I may add to this shawl if I choose to knit it. This is 100% superwash wool, and it would make something else really nice too, whether it be some gloves or a hat. I think these colors go really well together, and I am tempted. I'm not sure if there's a Ravelry download code or if it's just advertising that shawl, but it is really pretty, and I like these colors together. So can you believe all that? I was totally surprised when they called me that night saying that I had won, and even more shocked the next day when I came by and got this whole bag full of wonderful prizes. Thank you so much to Makers Mercantile and all of the other Puget Sound local yarn stores. I think this year's tour was very successful, and I hope everyone had a really great time. Now on to my finished objects. My first finished object is a hat. This is the Growing Affection hat by Hannah E. Mann of Makers Mercantile here in Kent. This was knit out of Shopple Zuberball cotton in the colorway 2369 Diffuser. It is a beautiful, lightweight, lacy design, and it was a total pleasure to knit. You followed kind of 4 different sections. You did the ribbing, you did this bottom lace section, then you did this main lace section, and then there was a chart to follow to close up for the crown as well. This is a really nice neutral color. You can see there's a little variation from the brim of the hat throughout. This was a really nice cotton yarn to work with, and there was a lot of yardage in it, so I think a couple hanks would make for a really nice summery tank top or something as well. This was their May Hat of the Month Club, and so I got a kit with this yarn and the pattern, and I'm very, very happy with how it turned out. I have woven in the ends, but I have not blocked it yet. I think I will maybe very lightly block it. I briefly tried it on last night when I finished it, and it seems to fit really well, just for, again, a nice springtime, lightweight, maybe even early fall, those transitional months when you don't need anything super heavy, and just kind of something nice and soft and comfortable. This is the Growing Affection hat by Hannah E. Mann of Makers Mercantile, knit up in Shopple Zuberball cotton. My next finished object is a half finished object. It is my latest sleeping sock. This is in a sport weight yarn. It is Malabrigo Arroyo in the colorway Anniversario. The pattern I used is Toe Up Socks using German Short Rows by Stacy Perry. Another very good beginning sock pattern. She has you start with a German short row toe, which I had not done for a while, but it was really fun. I knit these on DP ends, which is probably the easiest way to do this pattern. You could do it magic loop as well. She has you start with a German short row toe and then work up the foot, do a German short row heel, and then I worked up about 30 rounds of the leg and then did about 10 rounds of 2x2 rib for the cuff. I have the second sock cast on and I'm slowly working up the foot. I'm very much looking forward to having this pair done to add to my sleeping sock collection. I always love keeping my feet warm at night. And I think this yarn knit up super beautifully. I'm really happy with how this turned out. This is the toe-up socks using German short rows by Stacy Perry of Very Pink Knits, knit up in Malabrigo Arroyo. Last, I have a couple tiny little finished objects. These are little mini socks for my cousin's baby. I am making a series of little baby socks for him to use as an advent calendar this holiday season for his first Christmas. I am using leftovers from my Legacy Fiber Arts advent calendar from 2020. These are the two newest I've done. This really fun green with a little bit of sparkle and this red. The pattern I am following is from Sue Stokes of Legacy Fiber Arts, her mini sock pattern. And I am making it so that they can hang these by adding a little crochet chain. I chained 30 using a 2.5mm crochet hook and just kind of attached it in the back of the cuff. And I don't know if they'll want to put them in a big garland or hang them one day at a time on a tree. However they want to use these. I'm hoping this is something special that they can keep for him for many, many years and that he'll appreciate as he grows older. These are 4 new mini sock patterns. I am planning on doing 25 using the mini sock pattern by Sue Stokes of Legacy Fiber Arts. These were knit up with leftovers from the Legacy Fiber Arts 2020 Christmas Advent. Now on to my works in progress. First is my Desert Vista Dyework socks for the month of August. This is in the colorway Happy Girlfriend's Day. I just started the 2x2 rib for the cuff. I'm doing these 2 at a time, toe up, and I have marked for my afterthought heel. I have 5 or 10 more rounds up the cuff that I would like to do, and then I will cut in and do an afterthought heel, which will give kind of a really pretty bullseye effect with self-striping yarn. And then my August pair will be done. I am using a Progress Keeper, my Summer Sock Camp 2021 Progress Keeper from the Crazy Sock Lady. And I also have a Summer Sock Camp bag from Carrie of Stolen Minutes with my Summer Sock Camp 2021 pin on it, also from the Crazy Sock Lady. Here's what the yarn looks like in the cake. Such pretty fun colors. Next time I talk to you, hopefully these will be a finished object. This is a pair of toe-up socks, knit 2 at a time, and I will put in an afterthought heel, knit up in Desert Vista Dyeworks Happy Girlfriend's Day. My next work in progress is my Tokyo sock by Mina Phillip, the Knitting Expat, part of her Around the World in 8 Socks collection. I have it in a really cute watermelon project bag from Fate's Thread. And here it is. Last time I showed you the first sock. This is where I am on the second sock. This little kitty in a teacup Progress Keeper is from Bump on a Hill on Etsy. And as you can see, this is just a really pretty lacy design. It's been so much fun to work up. Not really as complicated as it looks. It's, you know, a classic lace pattern where you can kind of try to make sure that all the SSKs are lining up, all the knit 2 togethers are lining up. You can kind of make sure that you're on track by reading your work. This yarn is from Lolo Did It, part of her Downton Abbey Upstairs and Downstairs collection. The contrasting color is called Switzerland, and the main color is called Marigold. And I absolutely love these together. This is probably one of my favorite sock sets from that collection. I started with 20 rounds of the ribbing that she calls for. Knit down the leg. You only do the pattern across the front of the leg, and the back is just plain stockinette. She suggests doing a German short row heel, which I did. I did it in stockinette this time, where I knit the right side and purled the wrong side. I'm using my Addi sock rockets for these with a nice sharp tip. Here's what the yarns are looking like in the cake. So pretty. Love the little pops of orange on this pink color. So I hope to get this pair done before the end of August as well, so that I can be ready to cast on her next pattern, which will be inspired by the city of Vancouver, British Columbia, right away on September 1st. This is the Tokyo Sock by Mina Phillip, the Knitting Expat, knit up in Lolo Did It, Marigold, and Switzerland. Next, I'm excited to show you the progress I've made on my Cozy Knitter socks. I have them in my Mary Poppins bag from Fangirl Fibers on Etsy. And look at how beautifully they are coming. I told you this was going to be one of my very favorite colorways, and it definitely is. This was from her April Yarn of the Month Club. It is the colorway Bed of Roses. I am using a little mint Oreo ice cream cone progress keeper from Sweet Cherry on Etsy. And I have just gotten to the point where I finished going through the green gradient and the pink gradient, and I am back on the green. How pretty are these? I am so excited to see these work up. I have about 15 more rounds up the foot to knit before I do a Fish Lips Kiss heel with the contrasting mini that she included with this kind of darker pink color. I love how these different shades of green and pink are playing together. They really do look like roses. Very happy with how these are turning out. I am using my Knitter's Pride Nova Platina 40-inch needles for 2 at a time toe up. I started with Judy's Magic Cast On, where I do 16 stitches on each needle for a total of 32. Then I increase to a 64 stitch count. One more quick look at how gorgeous. I love these so much. I don't know how you can possibly do such intricate stripes like this as a dyer, but Christina, the Cozy Knitter, is amazing, and I absolutely love these. This is a pair of vanilla toe-up socks knit 2 at a time using Bed of Roses from the Cozy Knitter. My last sock I'd like to show you today is from my Yarnable subscription. This was from the month of April. It is the colorway Storm Watch. My little ice cream cone progress keeper is from Sugar Miniatures. The pattern I am doing with this is the Wyatt Sock by Kay Litton, the Crazy Sock Lady, and I have it in one of my favorite Hamilton project bags from Fate's Thread. This is knitting up very beautifully as well. It is a kind of spiral design with different knit and purl ridges. Really lovely, and I think it is coming through fairly nicely with this darker yarn. I'm pretty pleased. This is a cuff down design. I did 15 rounds of a 2x2 rib for the cuff, and I'm working down the leg. I'm actually at the point where I'm going to start the heel flap. On the back it's just plain stockinette. Look at how pretty that's knitting up. So I'm about to start the heel flap and turn that she calls for in the pattern. Then I will decrease the gusset and knit down the foot before I do the rounded toe that she calls for. Here's a look at the yarn in the cake. Really beautiful. Different dark gray, purple, black tones. Really a very unique, fun color. I'm using my Addi Flexi Flips for this, and these have been good needles for this project. I've been very happy with it. This is a really fun knit and purl design if you are looking for something beyond just stockinette. I highly recommend this pattern. This is the Wyatt Sock by Kay Litton, the Crazy Sock Lady, knit up in Stormwatch by Hypnotic Yarn, part of her Yarnable box. Next, I'd like to tell you about a brand new cast on. This is for the Fall Garment Make-Along, hosted by Natalie of Knitty Natty, the Love and Stitches podcast. And it is only my second sweater I've ever cast on. This is the Flax by Tin Can Knits. I have a little progress keeper showing the beginning of the round. I also have a little Starbucks progress keeper showing me the front of the sweater. These are both by Bump on a Hill on Etsy. And then to show my actual progress as far as the number of inches I've done, this is a pumpkin spice latte progress keeper from Simply Serving on Etsy. It is a classic top-down raglan design. And as you can see, I'm just kind of starting the yoke with the raglan increases. I've got probably about 30 more rounds to do. The interesting thing about this pattern is it has a ridge of garter stitch that will go all the way down the sleeve, which I think is really pretty. This is a very classic, very popular pattern. I know a lot of people have knit it, and I do believe there is a flax light as well using fingering weight. This I am doing the regular flax using worsted weight. And the other thing I should mention about this and most other tin can knits patterns is that there are a million sizes. It goes from newborn, I think, to 6X. So very, very size inclusive, which is awesome. The yarn I'm using for this is Knit Picks Wool of the Andes in the colorway Noble Heather. And here it is closer up. It's a very pretty kind of dusty green. I really don't know how long it will take me to actually finish this, but I am enjoying working on it, especially on my Zoom calls with my fellow Love and Stitches members. But I definitely will be working on it for quite some time. I just thought I'd give you a quick peek at how it's looking so far. I have it on 16-inch needles, and I'm almost ready to probably transition to 24-inch and then ultimately 32-inch needles to finish the rest of the body. As with most top-down raglan designs, I will increase until I have enough stitches for the sleeves. Then I will put the sleeve stitches on scrap yarn and just continue knitting down the body before I pick the sleeves back up to finish them. I do think I want to probably do about little more than 3/4 length on the sleeves. I don't think I want totally full length or too short. Usually I like my sleeves to end up right above my wrist, or that's where I roll them up to usually anyway. So that's my plan for that. This is the Flax sweater by Tin Can Knits, knit up in Knit Picks Wool of the Andes. Next, I thought I would give you a little update on my Monet Shawl. I have it in my Woodland Creature bag from Bags by Awesome Granny. And here is how it is currently looking. My Fruit Tart Progress Keeper is from Charms by Charlie. And I've added about 5 more stripes since I talked to you last. I only have 2 more before I finish this main stripey section, and then I will finish off with a different lace chart using the full skein that came with this advent calendar. I am using the 2020 Hypnotic Yarn Holiday Advent Calendar. These were all the minis. It started with this ribbing, and then a lace chart, and then this main lace chart. Try to get a little more of a close-up. As you can see, it's got some cables and some almost feather and fan ripple effect going. Really pretty, and I'm doing these colors in order. So I just finished off with this dark blue. My next is this kind of dark tealy green. And I just really love how these are coming together. They're so fun. This will make for a really fun piece that should go with all kinds of neutral colors, lots of grays and blacks and browns. I think it will look really, really nice. This pattern is by Melinda of Rye Flower Knits, and it was specifically designed for this Advent. It looks really good with these solid to tonal colors that Cheryl of Hypnotic Yarn dyed for her Advent last year. Really enjoying working on this. I'm trying to just add a stripe every couple days. I'm hoping to have this done by the end of September. Don't hold me to that, but that is my goal. Like I say, I only have 2 more stripes, which are only 4 rows, and then I have 1 final lace chart to complete. This is the Monet Shawl by Melinda of Rye Flower Knits, knit up in the 2020 Advent Calendar from Hypnotic Yarn. Last but certainly not least, I thought I'd give you a quick update on one of my scrappy projects that I've actually been quite focused on this last week or so. This is my Cozy Memory Blanket. This is going from the pattern by Kemper Ray. And last time I talked about this, I told you that I was adding 8 more strips so that it would be a little bit wider. And so I have done that. And then I am starting my next row. I did this green and now I am working on this red square using this scrap. Once I finish with the mini sock for my cousin's baby, I add a square to this. So these are the last two colors that I have done little mini socks in. And then I'm going to continue stacking them until it's the full 3 rows high, and then everything will be even again on this blanket. This is a really fun project, and you're basically just making a mitered square. So all of these new squares are from Legacy Fiber Arts. I believe I was on this blue one last time we talked, so I added these 4 on the end and this green one. I'm working through this red one. Hopefully I'll get this done in the next day or so and continue making steady progress on this. This is the Coziest Memory Blanket by Kemper Ray. Knit up in all kinds of different scraps, but right now I'm focusing on using my Legacy Fiber Arts scraps from their 2020 Christmas Advent. Well, I think that is about all I have for you this episode. Thank you so much for spending a little bit of time with me. I really appreciate you supporting my little channel and would really love it if you would consider giving this video a like and subscribing. As always, please share your thoughts with me and feedback on this podcast. You are more than welcome to leave a comment down below or message me on Instagram. I am at Knitty Heather on Instagram and I would love to hear from you. But until next time, be well, be kind, and happy knitting. We'll see you in the next one. Bye.